Look, I've had a shave and shaved my head.
I had a shave yesterday because I felt like utter shit. And it actually helps with hay fever.
Ain't that weird? I suppose the pollen does stick to her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It really does, and it's really bad at the moment. It's like, it's the worst time to have hay fever ever in the history of Earth, because some of the symptoms are similar to COVID-19.
Right.
So you shit yourself. It's like I have a morning surge, but the worst one is the bedtime surge, because I'm suddenly not sat upright. I'm lying down. All the, excuse the graphicness, all the mucus that's been created through pollen throughout the day starts moving around, and you're coughing, and it's like, oh yeah, this is nice. Excellent.
Do you know, I mean, I know it's not vegan, but do you know in the old days what they said the remedy was for it was to eat local honey?
I know.
No, mad in it. But whether that works or not, whether it's an old wives' tale, I don't know. But I suppose you're having a diluted version of the pollen into your body, so you're introducing. Could be.
Funnily enough, considering today's debate, when I was vegetarian 7 years ago, I used to eat honey.
Yeah.
And I got it just as bad. Hay fever.
But was it local honey? I think the key was it's got to be local. Yeah. There you go. So it's both then.
From a beekeeper on Hollins Road.
Right. All right.
I went to the gym with his wife. He kept his bees somewhere near Abbey Hills.
Yeah, there's a lot of rooftop beehives. A lot of people do it on rooftop. Yeah. I mean, I was considering it myself before I went vegan. I was considering getting a hive, and I just didn't see any problems with it. But it's amazing when you start looking into things, how the reality comes out, and you think, oh wow, I didn't realise that happened. And you know, it's mad, isn't it? You've really got to look into it.
I still consider the whole bee thing as a strange subject, because I'd never eat honey again, because that's been driven into me as a vegan now. But there's a guy, just let me pussy in, Danny. There's a guy on YouTube called JP the Bee Man.
Right.
And I've watched quite a few of his videos, and he's such a good, lovely soul. And what he does is he goes to homes and businesses that have got an infestation, if you like, in the walls or the ceiling.
Yeah.
And he really carefully takes out the slices of the hive with honey in it.
Yeah, it's like boards, isn't it? Like
and he puts it in the boards dead carefully, and he captures the queen and puts the queen in the box. And it's so, when I started watching him, I was like, so what he's actually doing is, he's obviously, the business or the home don't want the bees there, and so he's safely removing them, giving them a new home, and they seem really happy in there. So it's a really controversial subject.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like the almond industry, Paul. They've got to use the brought-in bee colonists to produce the almonds. So it's like a codependence, but it's because of human interaction that this codependence exists. But also in turn, that the bees wouldn't be there if it weren't for the almonds, and there's, you know, the declining bee populations. It all we've sort of got interlinked, and we can't escape it anymore on that side of things. It's a really sort of, but it's all human evolvement that's caused it all, isn't it?
Yeah, human intervention.
Well, anyway, onto business.
Right. So, if we've left any of that chat in, we've left it in. Hello, I'm Paul from Those Vegan Guys, and I believe that this here, I think you'll be that way, Danny. I think this here is Danny from Grumpy Vegan Grandad, whose channel I'll link up there. And Danny, will you be linking our channel up there, down there?
I'll put 2 on. I'm just so easy with it all. But yeah, Paul,
this idea, this was your idea actually for
it is, and what it is that what we find, and what me and you have found with text chats, is that we lose context and we lose emotion. And because
worst thing about the internet.
Exactly. And because we're both Northern, we've got a certain sense of humour that doesn't come across in text, and people take it the wrong way. So the basic story is that I'm admin on a page called Oldham Vegetarian and Vegans
on Facebook.
And I'm constantly thinking about my advocacy. And of course, it's evolving more and more. And I've started having the feeling that linking vegetarians with vegans gives vegetarians a false sense of security that they're linked with us, so therefore they're doing their bits against animal abuse. And that started causing me a problem. So I decided to do a poll to see if we should call it the vegan page rather than the vegetarian and vegan page. And I did a poll, and the poll went against me. So after that, I decided to just air my views to the people to let them understand why I did the poll in the first place. And a few people got upset, a few people agreed with me, and it was a mixed response. And also what's going through my mind at the moment is that with Veganuary just happening, and the numbers of vegans in the UK last year were 600,000, and it increased to 1 million in January with all the people joining in. However many have gone back, I do not know. I think 2020, especially with all this McDonald's, KFC, all doing vegan options, masses of vegan options in supermarkets, as your videos quite rightly show us all. I think the time for people to transition slowly and this baby step sort of thing, I think that time is over. I think 2020 is the time to push and stop giving people the false impression that gradually turning to a vegan diet or a plant-based diet is a good thing. And my premise now is that once you know the truth, and once you know that there's plenty of stuff out there, and it's easy to spot vegan food because milk is in bold, eggs is in bold, I think the time for transition is over. I think it's either, if you don't agree with animal abuse, you stop and you become vegan. It's very harsh, but it's thinking.
It's leaving door open for cat, and wind's picking up today, so it's like it was blasting open. Now, there is none of what you've just said that I disagree with. As I said on your video, when I commented on your video on YouTube.
Yeah.
I was vegetarian for 20 years.
Yeah.
And nobody will tell me that over those 20 years I didn't do my bit for animals. I was very unaware that my egg and dairy consumption were such massive causes of abuse. Honestly, really unaware. And these militant periods, we've all been through them, and I still have them now and again. There are times when I fucking hate meat eaters. Hate.
When you sorry to interrupt, Paul, but when you say militant, what exactly do you mean by militant? What is militant to you?
I'm going to get there. Militant is when we, with our refusal to acknowledge that being vegetarian is a move, and it's a really important one, but it should only be a step in the process. with our refusal to kind of accept that, and with our anger at how long it takes some vegetarians, I think that what we do is actually push them away. Now, this is not like, oh, this is what I think and therefore it must be right. This has come from carefully watching our channel over 2 years and watching very carefully the reactions we got, the interactions we got when we changed our way. Because what I started saying in videos is, if you're doing just one meal a week, or if you've stopped eating meat, brilliant, thank you. That's a real big move. Not with any kind of clause attached to it, like, now go further, but just, well done, really well done. And the positivity that we've got from that, from people who've jumped from meat eater to, even if it just started with one vegan meal a week, and then them saying, thank you so much for not preaching at us, but understanding that this is a journey. Because like I said, Dan, it took me 20 years to realize that cows don't just eat grass and make milk. That's what I thought. Genuinely thought cows ate grass and made milk. Had no idea that they were forced into pregnancy, had their babies taken away, the babies killed on a production line for 4 years, possibly 4 babies, and then killed anyway. No idea. And I think
Can I just interject there? Can I just interject there, Bob? Sorry, because you know me, I'm scatterbrained and these thoughts will go out my head. But by saying that, you've just sort of concreted my attitude a little bit there. Because you said you went vegetarian for 20 years, not realizing that you were causing this harm. Okay? So in your mind, you were doing the right thing. Yeah? Once you got told the truth, when somebody pointed out, no, hold on a minute, Paul, you're causing abuse to cows, you're causing abuse to chickens, you're causing this abuse, you changed.
No, it still took time, Danny. It still took time. There was a period when a guy I know called Dominic Berry is a poet in Manchester. And I posted something about, I used to make these massive frittatas, you know, like a big omelette pie, let's call it. And I'd put a picture of one on Facebook one day, and Dominic mentioned something about the egg use. And I was like, oh, don't worry, they're happy eggs. And Dominic was such a beautiful, gentle soul. He didn't preach at me. He suggested that I look into it. That's all. He just said, just have a look into it, Paul, into the egg industry. And I was like, yeah, I will do. And I didn't, because it had been so ingrained into my head. These are just chicken periods in a shell. They have them no matter what. They have a period once a month and it comes out. And if it's not fertilized, there's nothing wrong with eating it.
Yeah.
You know, and these chickens, we've all seen the happy egg adverts, how they're out in the fields and running around, which is so far from the truth. But I had to learn that myself. I had to see that myself. And it was only because it was gently pointed out to me that I wanted to pursue that. Okay, then I'll look into it. But had Dominic been dismissive, you think you're doing something and you're not doing anything, that would have pushed me further away from veganism, I think.
Do you really think that? Do you really think that?
It's just human nature, Danny. It's human nature. We all do it.
But if
we all do it.
You see, this is the problem I have. If you're a compassionate person, you went vegetarian because you didn't want to cause abuse to animals.
Yeah.
And do you really think if this guy had said, look, I mean, you say this preaching stuff, but it's not preaching. I mean, for example, like 40 million male chicks are macerated every year in the UK. So that's 110,000 a day. You
And
know,
for those of you that don't know, that means shredded alive. They're
blended.
basically, they're put on a conveyor belt. They go along a conveyor belt into a massive industrial metal shredder.
The blender.
And that's
And
because they're of no use to the egg industry.
no use. And then it's the same again with egg-laying hens. 40 million a year in the UK are sent for meat, slaughtered, electrocuted. The dairy industry, there's 7,000 cattle a day, and it's used dairy cows a day being butchered. There's
How many calves?
410 a day.
Calves.
Calves, 150,000 a year are being slaughtered every day, shot in the head.
Yeah. Or hammered in the head. Let's not forget that. They don't always use a gun. Sometimes they use a sledgehammer.
Oh my God, it's just worse. And so this is where I'm sort of, it gets a bit grey with this preaching and this. When you tell people facts like that.
Yeah, but Danny,
like
when you were first told them as facts, like very first, did you believe them? Or did you think, oh, fucking extremist vegans, honestly, that's not what happens? Because it's been ingrained in us for all of our lives, that meat and dairy and eggs are not only essential, completely normal, all kind, all caring. The animals don't feel a thing. They're treated so well. It's ingrained into us. Look at the Happy Cow advert. She's wearing earrings, for fuck's sake. Do you know what I mean? Oh, I'm such a happy cow on this farm. Squeeze my tits.
I get all this, Paul. I get all this, but it's these when we tell people to. I mean, your approach and my approach. My approach was hitting with the health because of people our age, my age. The health really hits home with people because we've been indoctrinated for so long, 40 years plus. But I think that this transition period, it's 5 years ago, right? Okay, 5 years ago, I started juicing vegetables, and I went plant-based. I thought I'd go vegan, but I went plant-based,
right?
And it was a gradual progression into veganism. And then I started researching these figures myself and looking what happens. I watched Earthlings, I watched Forks Over Knives, I watched Dominion, I've watched them all. I've done, you know what I mean? So
did you watch them all because you were ready to?
I watched them all because I felt I needed to.
Yeah, so did we.
I wanted to know.
And
I wanted to make
and there's the thing. I think you have to get there to that point on your own terms. You said something very telling, funnily enough, a few minutes ago. You said, when you tell people the facts.
Yeah.
But we've all been through that period where, oh, come on, that's bullshit. You're just extreme. I think if we ask people to look into the facts themselves, it's very different than telling them the facts and expecting them to act on them straight away. And like I mentioned to you in your thread as well, Danny, you've got family members that are still meat eaters, right? I've got family members who are still meat eaters. I went down to my mum's the other night. What have you had for your tea, Mum? She's 70 odd years old. She's 80 in June. Oh, I've had bacon and egg. I don't judge her anymore because she does eat a lot. She's 80 in June and she eats a lot of vegan food, and that's with my gentle persuasion. Mum, try this. What do you think? Oh, that's lovely. It's vegan. Next time I do some, I'll make you some. You see, so, and I know she'll never go vegan. She'll never. I know that because she's too. mums to she wouldn't know how to. Even with my help, it would be such a thing, and I wouldn't expect her to either. But I offer that same gentle acceptance really now to everybody.
Mhm.
It's not like I don't get frustrated, Danny. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't get angry and pissed
Mhm.
off, and it's not like I don't want to stand at the front door and say all of this fucking COVID shit is
Yeah.
yet again because of us and animals, just like
Yes.
all the shit before it. Stop it!
Yeah.
That's always in my heart.
Uh-huh.
But my head says, will that help, love? Will that help? Will that
Mm.
help anybody? Will somebody
Mhm.
say, oh, thanks for screaming in my face?
Yeah.
I know now, I'll pay attention. It
Yeah.
won't. Whereas, if I do what I'm doing and I say, look at all this stuff you can get in a supermarket, and now and again I say, if you're still consuming dairy, please look into the facts of it for your own sake. Be excellent to yourself and each other. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's because I've learned that doing that is far more effective, gets us far more messages from people saying, thank you. You've shown me what to get. You've told me the facts in a gentle way, and I get it now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going down the Joey Carbstrong. I mean, I'm pretty much saying what you're saying, and it is to people who have maybe gone vegetarian or are transitioning to a vegan diet. I say the same things. It's like, but you do realize you're still causing a lot of abuse.
Mm-hmm.
You do realize that. And that's what I'm saying, Paul. And think people are thinking, getting me confused with me going, you stop abusing animals. You should, exactly what you're saying. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do it. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is we shouldn't stop putting people to account. Just because they are
No,
reducing
I agree. I absolutely
and I
agree.
think that's where people have got confused with my sort of, could we call it an outburst?
But change two words around at the beginning of your sentence then. Instead of saying in an accusatory way, you do know what goes on. Say, do you know what goes on? Have you looked into it?
Yeah, point.
Do you get me? It's
Yeah,
like,
point.
I just think if you, the second we scream at someone, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be screaming, but if they feel like they're being attacked, they're going to go back into the shell. We all do. We all do. Whereas if you suggest there are all these wonderful alternatives here, and if you're still eating maybe eggs or dairy, and definitely if you're still eating meat, please look into what really goes on. And if you need any advice on what you should look at, I'm happy to help. It's far better than saying, you do. Why are you even bothering stopping eating meat? You know what goes on in the dairy farm and the egg farm? Just stop it. Which approach is going to get to you better?
But can I put this to you,
But I
Paul?
get you though.
Yeah, but can I put this to you though as well? I
Put
mean,
what you
like I
want
said,
to me, love.
it's it's not an approach I'm going to take. I'm not going to be that pointy one. Yeah, and I get what you're saying about your approach, but just one point on your approach is: have you tried different approaches and seen what feedback you get from different approaches? Fair
Yes.
enough.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is what I'm
My
saying. We're
yeah,
we're 7 years into this journey now, and it's not like I don't still go through those what I call militant periods. I call them militant because it's kind of in your face and expectant, which is
yeah.
just like being in the military. Stand to attention. Why aren't you doing this? It's the same thing. It's militant, and although it's needed sometimes, and it will work with some people will get it and it will hit with them. But mostly, we are a very sensitive species.
But are we sensitive because the truth is being put to us? People only react because they feel uncomfortable with what they're actually doing. When you tell someone that you've been lied to by your parents, you've been lied to by your government, you've been lied to by your doctors, you've been lied to by the TV adverts that you see every day on TV, that's a hard pill to swallow. And of course,
And it sounds like you're wearing
that.
It sounds like you're wearing a tinfoil hat, Danny, when you say that. I mean, it really does, because our parents didn't purposefully lie to us.
They didn't.
And our doctor didn't purposefully lie to us, because
that is what you're telling people. That is what I was shocked. One thing that made me stick adamantly to veganism was the fact that I'd been brainwashed as a kid. I was force-fed milk when I was a kid by my school. You had to drink it. You had to sit there until it was drunk. All this, I couldn't. I'm a free-thinking bloke, but I thought I'm not a free-thinking bloke because I've been programmed by the state to think in a certain way.
Yeah. And we all have. Yeah. But it's worldwide. That's the thing. And I do think that the more, because I'm constantly aware of my own process, constantly. I never forget that for 20 years I was vegetarian. And although I did my bit in that time, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. And I'm fully aware of that. And you know, one of my only regrets, like most vegans say, is that I didn't do it sooner.
Yeah.
That's one of my only regrets about being vegan now, is that I didn't do it sooner, that I wasn't prepared to listen to the people who were gently trying to tell me or ask me, suggest to me that I looked into things. It still took me having to want to do it for me to make the changes. And having now seen the reactions from people that we've been gentle with, that we do congratulate, because if you have been a meat and dairy consumer all your life and you're suddenly having one vegan meal a week, bloody brilliant. Because the more you have that meal and think, do you know what, this is really good actually, let's make it two. And if that takes you 6 months or a year, you will get there eventually. And I want to support you all the way, because I know where you're going.
This is where I start twisting a little bit away, and
I know.
think, well, that meal is, then there's 150,000 bull cows being shot. There's 2.6 million cattle being slaughtered. There's 40 million male chicks being, and it's like, while you're deciding whether you want to be an animal abuser or not, all this shit's happening. And this is what's going through my mind at the moment. I mean, can I put to you about people like Joey, Earthling Ed, Paul Bashir, Gary Urofsky? Now, their approach is what we are talking about at the moment, this approach. But they have the biggest followings. They have the most conversion rates on the planet. And I've got to take that into consideration as well. What do you think about
that? Well, I think it depends on who you are as a person. It's like, see, I'm not that guy.
No.
Do you know what I mean? I would happily say
impact has a massive.
Oh, absolutely. I would happily, and that's why there are bits in this video right here now where I've said there are times I want to stand at my front door and scream, "What the fuck are you doing?
What's stopping you?
Stop it."
What's stopping you though?
Because I've done it and it's pushed people away. And now that I'm more accepting and understanding, and I've never forgotten where I came from or how long it took me, or never forgotten the fact that, I'll just throw this one at you, Danny, and it's something that's happened between us. But the week before we went out for a meal at the Black Lad, me and you you took me down for the first time to the Pig Save.
How has that affected you?
It was well, I want to go again, and Jason wants to go. And for anyone watching, I'll link that our Pig Save video up there. No doubt Danny will link his as well. The week after, we went out for a meal,
Yeah.
and can you remember what your missus ordered?
Oh yeah.
And I never said a word.
Rotten cow flesh.
No, she had a pulled pork burger.
Did she? But oh my god, yes. After we've been there, I know. I
And I
know.
was sat next to her. But I
Hmm.
never said anything because I know you're vegan and I know that she isn't. So it's not my place to even to feel uncomfortable, even though, just like in exactly the same way as I feel uncomfortable when my mum says, "Oh, I've had bacon and egg and it were right good."
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
immediately think, so one of the pigs that I saw down there and an abused bird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't say it. That's what
But
I'm
you
saying.
know,
I'm saying if we are this tolerant and gentle with the people we love, shouldn't we extend that out to the people who we don't necessarily know? Not in the fact of, you see, our interactions are mainly with people who are somewhere on the journey.
yeah.
They already are. They're already.
Oh, right. You said that, but I wish you hadn't said something to her because she doesn't take it off me. I wish you had said something to her about that, and
You
I
asked me
wish
not
you.
to. Before we went, you said, don't be saying anything to the missus. And I said, I won't, don't worry.
But personally, I wish you had. And I wanted to
Yeah, but
speak
I'm
about.
respectful. I would never do that. I would never do that. I've been sat, me and Jason have been sat when we were veggie with our friends in Yelvertoft in a Chinese restaurant while they're eating pork belly. And I carried on the conversation about the kids and the possible house move and was fully aware that there were chunks of a dead pig on a plate right in front of me, and I never said a word. Now, if anybody out there thinks that makes me a vegan hypocrite, I would say that I'm just not going through a militant phase at the moment. I am militant in ways where I would say if I take a friend out for a meal to pay for it, they have to eat vegan.
Okay, yeah,
However, Jason and I did a shop for Jason's mum and dad a few days ago from Iceland, and we ordered what they asked us to order.
right.
And it cut me up a little bit inside, but I'm not going to force my life on them, just like I don't want them to force theirs
They
on me.
the elderly, would they have a problem going getting their own shopping?
Yeah, it's
Okay. Oh,
Jason,
however,
Jason's dad's had pretty major surgery last year. They found first he had kidney stones, then they found cancer in the kidney.
oh
So
God,
they took the kidney, and he got one of them messages saying you must stay inside for 12 weeks.
yeah.
Do not leave. And
Well,
he's like the driver.
well,
So
that's practical, isn't it? That's the vegan practicable, isn't it? But my wife rung me after I queued for an hour outside Asda yesterday, and she went, "Oh, can you get us a pack of milk?" So I said, "Christine, I'm not buying anything for animal. You can use my money to buy your own produce. You can come down and queue here on your own, but I'm not buying any products that are animal based. I'm sorry." As far as my family in the house, because I wanted to speak to you about this, is my wife decided to make some jam cakes with jam in the middle, like cakes. And I looked in the bag. She bought butter. She bought what else was there? Oh, there was something else in there. I can't think what it
eggs.
was. Eggs. There was eggs in there. So I went through the full thing. I said, "Look, baby, calves get shot for that." I said, "There's millions of chickens get ground up, and they're sick of it, but I will not stop saying this to them, even though it's
Can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion to you?
you can try, mate."
Instead of pointing those things out, why not open the Vegan Society website recipe pages and print off a few of the cakes on there for the missus and say, would you try that instead? Because it's a vegan recipe.
Out for her. I said, "Look, vegan egg replacer. You can use that instead of eggs. You can use banana instead of eggs." I says, there's vegan margarine in the fridge. Why didn't you use that? Oh, well, it says butter on the recipe. I says, but you don't have to use butter. It's frustrating, Paul. I'm in hell here, mate. Believe
Well,
me.
I was a massive baker. Some might say a master baker. When I was vegetarian, I loved baking. And when we first went vegan, and I tried veganizing non-vegan cake recipes by using egg replacers and stuff, they never worked ever. Then I found all these recipes on the Vegan Society website for cakes, and they are perfect because they're made because they're not done with egg replacer. They're made differently. So I'm saying, print a couple of them off, just leave them lying around, say, here, Mrs. Shepherd.
Well, when I've untied her under the stairs, I'll give it to her.
If thou makes this cake instead of one with dairy and eggs, you might find some flowers in the next couple of days. Do you know what I mean? There are ways and means of being a romantic bastard and enticing people to do what you would like them to do without saying, what are you doing that for? Why are you doing that? You don't have to do this. That's been my whole point all through. But I totally get you about the Garys and, all of the guys.
Again, sometimes we've got to put ourselves into the animal's position, in animal's shoes.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know I'm doing this for the viewers. I'm not doing this for you. But let's just say, Dickhead Gary from up the road is a homophobe, right? Dickhead Gary comes up to me and says, "Where are you off to, Gary? I'm off down to Paul and Jason's. I'm going to egg grouse again." What are you talking about? Well, they're them homosexuals. I'm going to throw eggs at the house. I like to do it. It gives me pleasure. And I said, well, listen, it upsets them. It causes them a lot of aggro. Why are you doing that? You're right, Danny. Maybe I should just do it on Mondays and Tuesdays then and like cut it down slowly.
Well, it saved me on cleaning. If it was on Monday or Tuesday, that'd be a good thing.
This is what we're doing when we push people to sort of like have one vegan meal. If the animals are suffering and we're asking people or saying it's okay for people to just do animal abuse a little bit.
No, because we're not. See, that's where the off-putting bit comes in, I think. If we say, oh, so you're only a part-time animal abuser, well, that's great. We're focusing on the wrong thing. If we say you're doing one vegan meal a week, or you've changed your milk, brilliant. That's a huge step. I hope you do more. It's all in the delivery. It's all in the. We have to be gentle with each other. It weren't so long back, Danny. We were all covered in fur, sitting in trees, kicking the shit out of each other if we caught eyes. We're still a very sensitive, ape-like species. All right, we've got more intelligent. We've learned to fly to the moon, allegedly. We did it in '69, but we can't do it now. Fuck off. That's a whole other debate.
Well, listen, let's agree to disagree on this, because I think I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying, and because of this conversation, I am now going to use the tactics you said and change the wording around a little bit. However, the message is going to be exactly the same.
It always is.
Please don't transition. Just stop now. I'll show you how. You can stop now. I'll show you how to do it. There's so many groups on Facebook with people willing to help. The product labeling is so much easier to read.
It's never ever been easier. It's never been cheaper. We've never had more choice. It's never been so fucking delicious. It's never been so. There's never been so much togetherness and camaraderie as there is in the vegan.
Exactly.
I get that. What's that? Come on. Quickly. Come on in there. Daddy's doing a video. You pain in the bum.
So let's jump off that topic a minute, because while we're on, we might as well just talk about this lockdown and all these conspiracy theories coming up. And I mean, I know I'm getting personal messages sent all the time with these stupid videos about these doctors who've got a doctorate in acupuncture, and all of a sudden they're a technology expert, and they're saying this and that. And this is getting me down more than anything. Is people trying to excuse this coronavirus as being some sort of lab grown organism, something to do with 5G radiation, when the facts are quite literally there.
We can link it in. We can actually link it in with veganism for a moment and why more people aren't vegan. We are a very easily scared species. Very easily scared.
Drama. We love drama.
We love drama, but we don't like fear. And rather than face the truth of something, it's easier to say, is this a cover-up for 5G? Was this virus created in China? Was it created by America and then taken over there? Is it a way to get rid of all the pensioners in the? It's all these theories, because that's easier than saying, no, meat eating caused a jump of a virus to humans. Again,
And
this is the 7th or 8th time it's happened.
Yeah.
And it's caused a world pandemic, and it's killing people. And the easiest thing that you can do now is say, maybe this animal abuse shit is wrong. Maybe we need to stop. Maybe we need to stop force breeding animals for consumption. And don't, I said in one of my recent videos, it's a lot of people are like, oh, well, it's Chinese, they'll eat bloody anything over there. And I'm like, well, they eat animals the same as you. Just because it's different animals, that line of thinking makes you a speciesist.
Yeah.
But like, it's okay to kill the animals up to this line, and then all the ones after that, you don't eat them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people, because that's been ingrained as well.
Yeah.
But it's easier to point the finger and say, oh, this is because of them. It's got nothing to do with me eating my steak. Yeah, it has, Brian, actually. It's got everything to do with you eating your steak.
This 5G Wuhan thing is just a sheer coincidence. It's just an absolute sheer coincidence that they rolled it out in Wuhan, exactly the same place that this virus allegedly started. That's sheer coincidence, but people jump on these coincidences, and that's all it is.
Do you know what the other weird coincidence is? There is a biotech lab in Wuhan that creates viruses and works with viruses.
A bit like the one we've got in the UK as well.
And the symbol for the Wuhan place, if you look it up on Google, is very similar to the symbol for Umbrella, the corporation that is in the what's it called? Not Evil Dead.
Oh,
Resident Evil games.
Evil.
Umbrella are the organisation that creates the virus that starts the zombie apocalypse in Raccoon City.
That's a cool coincidence, isn't it?
Honestly, their logo of an umbrella is the same as this biolab.
Wow.
Very similar in Wuhan. But brass tactics, this virus came from humans eating animals, full stop. Doesn't matter what animal, because H1N1 didn't come from eating exotic animals. Mad cow disease didn't come from eating exotic animals. The lesson that the earth keeps trying to tell us is, for fuck's sake, stop it with the animals.
Exactly.
Isn't it? And we're all getting that, but I'm still gonna share that information with people gently.
Yeah. I'm just gonna slam it in their faces. But I mean, frightening statistics is like 85% of antibiotics are given to farmed animals. ingesting the flesh. We're eating, well, not us personally, but people are eating that flesh and building up resistance to antibiotics. They're crammed in small spaces with feces and urine, and they're getting resistant to antibiotics. It won't be long before something starts in this country, in America, and it will be twice as bad.
I know.
It's going to go like that, and it's frightening. It's absolutely.
Speaking of animals taking antibiotics, Plant-Based News made a short film, unfortunately starring Tim Sheaf, a couple of years ago, and it was about exactly this. It was about antibiotics being fed to pigs, and I know about the film because I did a voiceover at the start of it. I was a news reporter at the start of it, not visually. It was just like answering questions. We don't know. So yeah, it's if I find it, I'll link it up there for all y'all. Right, Daniel, it's been a joy talking to you.
You call me Daniel, then. You know my name is Danny.
Well, I like Daniel. Daniel the Spaniel McGaniel.
It was Chris and Danny, right? My dentist used to call me Daniel, and I used to go mad as a teen. I'm not called Daniel, I'm called Danny. I had fights in the playground because people said I was called Daniel, and not Danny. Stop
all right.
It. On purpose.
All right, Danny. Right, it's been good chatting with you. I'm going to edit this little thing.
And it's nice to sort of clear up this misinterpretation of text that we're all victims of. I think it's nice to be able to get what we're actually thinking out there, and I hope I've come across to your viewers and to my viewers that it's not malicious, that thinking about vegetarians. It's not malicious at all. It's more it's
frustration.
It's frustration.
I totally get it. I feel it a lot. I've just found that my expression of it doesn't work as well as my gentleness. That's all.
Okay.
And there you go. And there's the end of the video.
Brilliant, mate.
Right, it's been great chatting to you. Let's debate again sometime while we're on lockdown. There are many subjects.
We'll find a subject and then we'll go for it, because it's been cool. I mean, we've done a good 40 minutes, 30 minutes, haven't we?
Almost 50 minutes.
Oh my God.
7 minutes. Right, take care of yourself, and you lot out there, be excellent to yourselves and each other.
Signing off. See you soon. Thank you.